Hi guys. Good morning. I am starting a live today on the mini rose. This beautiful 5-inch flower is what I'm going to be making today. Hi Amber. And the template is available in my Etsy shop. That's the template that I am using, and I have already cut out all of my petals, and I'm also preheating my glue gun, as I will be using hot glue today to assemble this flower. What else? I am also going to be, hi SVG, guiding you guys along the way. So if you have already cut out this template and want to craft along, that's awesome. If you're just scrolling by, that's awesome too. I do plan to repost this video and so that you guys can reference it. But I just realized that I did not bring all of my tools. Oh, actually I did. I just placed them somewhere else. So you're gonna need a wooden dowel to shape the petals, or a bone folder, or a marker, or whatever it is that you use to shape your petals. And then this is optional, but I am going to use my foam mat and my ball stylus to further shape some of the petals. And then, like I mentioned, hot glue gun, your glue sticks. So I'm going to set aside all of my tools, and we're going to begin with folding, or rather curling our petals. There are three template shapes or template layers that are the biggest. For those, I like to slightly curl them, like so. So I'm using my finger, index finger in the bottom, and then the tool to curl the petals on both sides. Right, and that's pretty much it. I'm happy with this curl that I have, and so I'm going to continue to do the same thing. A slight curl on the petals. These are going to be going in the bottom of the flower, so I want them to have like an open look. And there we go. That's the second, and the third as well is going to have a rather open vibe. So again, you can use the bone folder and whatever works best for you. Hello. ASAP cutting sticker. So now I'm going to continue with my wooden dowel, and I'm going to start to curl the petals a bit more now. So I like to go sort of around to wrap the paper around the wooden dowel itself to create those really tight curls. I like for these roses to be like fluffy and really full, so creating this tight curl helps with that. So don't be afraid to curl, the petal several times until you achieve that look. that you are wanting. So yeah, I'm happy with what I got here. So you see the difference, even though this is a bit smaller, but it's the same shape. So see the difference between slightly curling the petals and then curling them more with a wooden dowel. All right, so let's keep rolling, as they say. The movement here is repetitive. The technique is the same technique. Of course, the petals are slightly bit smaller, but it's the same exact technique. So yeah, I am using my own template, the mini rose template. It's linked in my stories. You can just go to my last post and drop a comment, like the word rose, and you can get a link to the template. It comes in SVG as of now. I'm working on also making it available as a PDF, because this can be used by those who don't have a machine, prefer to hand cut. So yeah, but right now you can find it as an SVG, and it is already, all the components are already, you know, pre-sized, and the numbers, for example, 3 of the biggest are already like duplicated. So basically all you have to do is upload the file onto Design Space and then click on Make It. And the flower in the end will end up being like 5 inches in diameter, as I mentioned in the beginning. In height is going to be about like 2 to 3 inches, depending on, well, I'll show you guys in a bit when we start assembling. But about, you know, 2 to 3 inches in height, basically, which I love this. This is great for putting like on a gift. Instead of a bow, you would put a flower. I'm planning to do that. I'll show you guys how it turns out. They're also great as a garland, just as ornaments going on a tree. As well. Hello, it's me, Lucha's Crafts. Hey guys. So I mentioned at the beginning that I'm using 65-pound cardstock. It's pretty much what I use almost exclusively for my paper flowers and paper crafts. You could, you know, especially if you live in another country, I know sometimes it's hard to find the exact thickness of the paper or cardstock. So anything that's around 65-pound cardstock or 176 GSM will be fine. And then I wouldn't definitely recommend going too thick, because it becomes harder to shape the petals as you go thicker. So for, you know, extra large flowers, when I'm working with like 18 to 20 inch or more flowers, then yeah, using maybe like 100, 110 pound cardstock works really well, and it keeps those, it helps keep the flower, it helps with the longevity of the flower. If you're making really big flowers, you want the paper to be thick so that it, you know, doesn't droop, essentially. But with these flowers, I find that 65-pound cardstock works really well. And yeah, so, all right, I have folded or shaped or curled all of my petals, all the components of the flower, and now I'm pretty much ready to go. One more thing that I'm going to do, and like I said, this is optional, is I'm just going to shape the center of the layers. I'm not going to shape the first one, but I'm going to start with the second, slightly going in with my ball stylus and the foam mat, slightly shaping it a bit to bring the petals up. Oh, and I realized I actually should have done it this way. So I'm shaping it so that the petals are going outward, not inward, outward, and then lifting them up. So I'm going to do this like this. All right, so the same thing for the other one. Make sure your petals that you shaped are facing downward or outward. And then shape the middle. Here we're going to do the same thing. And as you're going into these like smaller layers, you can even accentuate like how much you're lifting the petals up because they're going to be closer to the center. So if here I only went slightly with my pressure to lift the petals slightly, right? With each new layer, I apply a bit more pressure, a bit more, as they're getting smaller because they're getting closer to the center and closer to the bud. All right, so that's pretty much it. I guess I could do this too. Again, this is optional. You don't have to do this. But you can if you want to. I have linked all of the tools in my bio. There's in my Amazon storefront. There's a link in there that will take you to all of. This is actually going to be like this. Is it? Hold on, now I'm doubting myself. Is it? Yes, it is. Okay. So there are 3 shapes, and I'll show you guys. There are 3 shapes for the bud or the center that are the exact same, and there's a 4th one which shape-wise is the same, but size-wise it's a little bit bigger. So when you assemble the center or the bud, the petals for the 4th shape are going to be facing outward versus the petals for the 3 shapes that are smaller, they're going to be facing inward. Okie dokie, let's begin with the assembly. I'm going to actually take a sip of my water real quick, and I will sit down and get started. So yeah, the first part is basically just shaping all of your elements, and then the second part is assembling. So what I want to do is I want to bring these 2 sides together like so, as tightly as possible. I don't want any, space here. Very, very minimal. So bring them together as close as possible. Then you're going to apply glue here to actually secure this petal, and then apply glue over here to secure the other petals so they are staying in this position. Okay, that is what I will be doing, and of course it helps to have this on the table and not in the air, so that's why I kind of showed you guys a preview of what I'm going to do in case you're not able to see it. Okay, so once I have the petals positioned in the position that I want them, once I have them positioned how I want them, I'm going to apply some glue on each side. Try to not let go to keep that tension, to keep everything nice and tight. And then apply some glue on the other side. You just need a little dot, you don't need much. There we go. And there you have it. This is your first layer of the bud, so to speak. Okay, now we're going to continue with that same technique, the same movement, but for these other sides. So we're bringing them together, we're bringing the petals together, and then securing them with glue. Try to, in the beginning, bring them very tight. I mean, having not a lot of space in between the layers. And then with each new layer that you make, try to create a little bit more space to create the illusion that the bud is opening gradually. So with these first few bud petals, you want to bring them in pretty tightly. Okay, and then the other side, we're gonna do the same. So here it is. So that was the first layer. Now we have two more. So we attach the first layer onto the second one, and then we continue with that same motion, with that same technique, bringing in the petals. And again, I'll let you guys be the judge, but with each new petals that you're adding to the bud, you leave a bit more space in between. So it is helpful to have a bird's eye view of your work, or you know, just you're gonna look at the flower right from the top down, to give you an idea of where you're headed, where you're going. So usually if I'm keeping this flower or this petal a certain distance, I'm matching the distance that I'm leaving for this petal with the other one. So I'm working in groups of two, if that makes sense. To create a balanced look, of course. But definitely having shaped the petals prior, even what I did with the foam mat and the ball stylus, that helps a lot. And so sometimes it feels like the flower is building itself because you're bringing in the shapes and it just falls beautifully, like, and you're like, okay, yeah, that's it. And so yeah, that's why I like to take my time when I shape my elements, my petals, or center, or whatever it is. And I add little steps that, you know, I present to you guys as optional, but I like to do them because it helps when you're assembling and it helps in the final look of the flower. Alright, so I'm going to start leaving a little bit more space here, as you can see, and I'm going to match that distance with this petal as well. Of course, it doesn't have to be perfect, the distance, it can be, it's a flower, but that's, you know, the general idea of it. So yeah, I need this cutting video, okay. Well, I will be posting it. I'm not sure if I'm going to post it on my Instagram or just my YouTube. I will let you guys know, definitely. But if you don't follow me on YouTube, make sure that you follow me on there, because sometimes I will repost my live workshops, my live classes on there. So you can find me on all the socials as Floral Flair Studio. here we go. Floral Flare Studio. This is me. Okay, what else? Okay, so now we have arrived to our fourth bud shape, and like I mentioned earlier, make sure that your petals are facing outward, that the fold or the curve that you created is going outward, not inward, as we did so far. And that's it. That's the only thing that you need to keep in mind for this. For now. Now, the way that we're going to bring these these four petals together is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to now place some glue here in the bottom at the base of each side of the petal, and then I'm going to slowly bring it up like so and give it a few seconds to dry. But basically I'm going to now create this look where the bud is opening up. Okay, so this is the thought behind it. So add 2 dots of glue on each side. You don't need a lot. Then bring the petal up once you have your glue, and don't close it all the way. Don't bring it all the way, because then that defeats the purpose of this whole thing. But you want to bring the petal up slightly so that your petal is at a maybe 45-50 degree angle. All right, let's do it. Okay, I'm bringing it in, holding it in place for a few seconds. Okay, making sure that the glue is completely dry basically. And then if you wanted to, you could also accentuate a little bit this curve, because I think it's a really beautiful detail, by pushing in a little bit to create that like M shape. It's really pretty. You don't have to do that, but yeah. So that's it, and then we're going to repeat the same thing for the other 3 bud petals. Okay, bring this in. And then I'm just gonna hold it for a bit to make sure the glue dries. Roses are definitely flowers that, you know, require some patience and practice, especially with the bud. But once you get the hang of it, then it's so satisfying. It's really fun to make these. So be patient with yourself. Trust me, you will get it. If the first rose, you know, doesn't come out exactly like you had envisioned that it would, it's totally normal. No one was born knowing it all. So you just gotta want to do it enough so that you basically fail a bunch of times, make a bunch of like ugly flowers, and then something will click along the way. Hopefully these videos, the way that I'm explaining everything step by step, helps. But ultimately, if you don't put in the work, like if you don't actually like make the flowers, you know, you're never going to learn. You're never going to get perhaps as good as you want to get. So practice is the key, basically. Okay. Last but not least, oh, it's raining. It's a perfect day to stay in and craft. I love crafting in like the fall, the winter. It's just such a cozy vibe. I keep saying vibe today, I don't know why. But yeah. Okay. Well, our bud is complete. It's ready. And I'm going to set it aside and I'm going to work on the flower itself. So like I mentioned, we're going to do biggest to smallest. The first 3 layers are the biggest ones. They are the same. But you know, we curl them a little bit differently, right? I did slight curls here. I think I just forgot this side. And then with the smaller layers, we did tighter curls with the wooden dowel, and I really put some pressure in the middle to make the petals go up. All right, let's do it. I'm going to add, again, this is also going to be optional, but I am going to add some height to this flower. Let's see. And I'm going to do that by simply adding some extra paper, and I'll show you guys what I mean in just a second. So I'm going to cut a strip from one of my like leftover papers. Actually, I want it to be thinner. It doesn't have to be exact, but basically you're going to cut a small piece, fold it a few times, glue it down, and then glue it right here in the center. Then I'm going to put the second layer. Notice how I am placing the petals. I'm alternating where they go. They don't just go on top of each other, but they fill in that negative space here. Okay. And that's it. What this does is just, it gives the flowers a bit more height, a bit more volume, but you can totally skip this step if you want to. All right, I'm going to continue with the third layer. Oh, and I guess I should do my special thing. So let me add a little bit more height to that. And I'm going to place it down. Again, here it helps to be on top of your project so that you are stacking the petals. So you can see how you're stacking them. You need to be stacking them, you know, on top of each other. They shouldn't be like going off to one side. All right. So again, alternating the placement of the petals so that they're filling in those negative spaces. Okay. Here we go. We have 3 layers now. And we're going to continue with the 4th. You really don't need much. Just a little piece. Right there. And then place your, oops. Okay. Coming together nicely. I really love it. And last but not least, you could totally skip this one and just go straight like that. That would be pretty too, but you could also add it. I'm going to add it. I'm going to just add a little bit of height. Oops, come on. It would also help if you used your wooden dowel here. It's actually, now we go. All right, cool. Last but not least, we have our bud, which fits in perfectly. I'm going to add, of course, some glue in the bottom. And then place it in there. I like to hold it down for a few seconds. Make sure you center it. I'll just shift it a bit. There we go. And there we have it. And feel free to open up the petals a bit more. Here is our paper rose. Again, this is about 5 inches in diameter. These are really fun to either make a garland of, you know, of course, add them on a canvas, on a wall arrangement. They're great as gift toppers. That's what I'm going to use them for. And of course, I might use some for my tree as well. But yeah, aren't they cute? All right. Well, thanks guys for watching. I hope that this was helpful to you. And yeah, keep practicing, keep working towards your goals. You know, don't give up as soon as you encounter difficulties. If you're encountering difficulties, that means that's good news. That means you're growing. That means you're pushing yourself. So keep doing that. I'm here to help. So yeah, have a good Friday and happy crafting. See you in the next one.